Welcome to the Submonitor. Earlier this week, I filmed a follow-up video about the Cairo airport bus experience. Instead of having a script and reading it off a teleprompter, I opted for a more natural flow. I wrote down some key takeaways from our trip and then used that to have a more improvised talk from there. It did feel much better, and it seems to be a better match for my style. However, one of the issues that came up was that the video ended up being longer than expected. Therefore, while editing, I decided to split the video into two smaller segments. Also, without me noticing, my camera went into a standby mode after 10 minutes of video taking. However, I was still recording voiceover for it. This means that part of the video that's coming up might not feature any of the footage that I took, and will rather only feature my voiceover and any other relevant maps or photos added in post-editing. Thank you so much for your patience, and now, back to the video. To the Cairo airport bus experience. So, on the night we wanted to go to the airport, we were debating whether to take an Uber or to take the bus. Our hotel we're in downtown. It was at Abdelmoniem Riad Square, quite close to Abdelmoniem Riad Square, and we were thinking of taking the Uber, but we couldn't find any captains around or any drivers around. So what we did basically was we just went to the bus stop. I checked on Google first, Google Maps, to see if there were any buses going from Abdelmoniem Riad to the airport around that time. It said there were. We went to the bus stop, and in fact there was. So Google Maps are quite accurate, actually, even in terms of the time, and the bus did leave exactly at the moment when as Google Maps had said. So that's kind of amazing and beautiful that it's actually working, and much thanks actually would go to the team of Transport for Cairo, who've been working with Google to help make this data available. And yeah, so we took the bus 356 from Abdelmoniem Riad at around 8:30. Figuring where the bus stand or where the actual bus stood inside the bus stop was a bit tricky, but we managed to find it eventually, and it was a pretty smooth ride. It went through Abbasiyya and Ramses and Abbasiyya, and then through Heliopolis up to the airport. The layout of the bus had a good variety of seats. As mentioned earlier, there was these fold-up seats where there is a place for a wheelchair user. One of the doors was a low door, which is the very front door next to the driver. So theoretically, if there was a person with a wheelchair, the driver can open up the ramp and let the wheelchair person get onto the bus. This is actually to also be careful. Note, this is not the regular blue bus, quote-unquote regular. It is also still part of CTA. It's the air-conditioned service, and CTA has two different kinds of buses. Basically, it has air-conditioned buses and non-air-conditioned buses, and the non-air-conditioned buses, they operate on heavy-duty routes, mostly on commuter routes. Most of them do not have ramps for wheelchair passengers, but they're actually higher capacity. They have more seats and they're longer. The air-conditioned buses, they have a variety of seats in the same bus. There are seats that are closer to the door where the driver is, and they are mostly for elderly and for wheelchair. And then there is the back of the bus where we actually sat, and since we were early at the bus stop, we managed to take a few seats that had extra legroom, because there was some railing there, and we were able to fit in 2 of our cabin bags there, and we didn't have to take any extra space or have to pay for an extra seat, for example, next to us to put our bags on. So that's really good. However, if you have a lot of bags, if you have a lot of luggage, taking public transport in general is not ideal, but especially in Cairo, and I would rather recommend that you take either a Cairo taxi or a Cairo limousine from the airport. There are plenty, they'll even offer it to you. It's going to be a little bit more expensive than the actual bus, but it's the most reliable. Then also Uber, but the trick with Uber in Cairo airport is that when they're going to pick you up, their pickup point is actually quite tricky to get to. and you might have to have an Egyptian SIM card or enough roaming money or credit on your account, on your SIM card, to be able to call the driver and understand where they are, which pickup point they are with regards to Uber. But like taxi drivers and limousine drivers at the airport are quite reliable. They might be expensive, they might actually ask for more money than they should, but this is something that you have to be aware of, like in most airports. Make sure that the taxi driver uses the meter, or you have a set price already with that person. And yeah, or you have a driver pick you up if you're already at the hotel somewhere and they offer you a driver. It's always a good idea. So yeah, that's our experience from the actual bus. The other things that we realized is that there wasn't any signage in English. Even though this is the bus that goes to the airport, no signage indicated that. So if you can speak Arabic or if you can read Arabic, you're one of the people who can read Arabic script, you'll be able to make that this is the airport bus. However, there are no Latin characters or Latin signage, and so therefore it's very difficult. You can also always ask people, and they can tell you that this is the actual airport bus, and you can ask the driver. It's always the best things to ask the driver, or ask the ticket conductor who's on the bus. Most buses in Egypt have a driver and a conductor or an assistant who helps with the ticket sale, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so that's basically it. The bus arrived early. Like, Google predicted it would have arrived 9:45 or something around that time, and we arrived 9:30, so it was kind of quite early, 10 minutes early from the actual scheduled time. And it was very nice. It was a very nice trip. The bus driver was very friendly as well. He asked us where the airport we would like to go, and we told him we were going to go to Terminal 3, and he advised us to not wait until the bus goes into the main bus terminal at the Cairo airport, but rather wait outside. There's a smaller stop right outside of the main terminal, and he said that the shuttle bus to Terminal 2 and 3 goes from there. And what we discovered is that the Cairo airport shuttle buses operate as follows. They leave the main terminal, the main bus terminal, first go to Terminal 1 and its other adjacent buildings. Then it comes back to where the terminal is, but it does not enter the bus terminal. It stops at that outside external stop on the road, right next to the exit of the main bus terminal. And from there, you can take the bus. It continues to the other parts of the airport. So it goes to the seasonal flights terminal, especially if it's in operation. And at that time it was, because it was Eid and there were a lot of people who were going on pilgrimage to Mecca, and so therefore there were flights to Saudi Arabia were going out from the seasonal flights terminal. And then it went to Terminal 3. On the way it actually stopped for a person who waved it down. Probably they were at one of the bus stops that were on request, and they got on the shuttle bus. And then it stopped at Terminal 3 at the arrivals concourse, and we got off there. Obviously the bus then continues to Terminal 2 and then back to the bus terminal, main bus terminal. So at Terminal 3 at the arrivals concourse, we just looked for the nearest door that we can pass through. There was a security screening, and then we went into the terminal and we took the escalator up to the departures level. It was quite smooth, quite easy to get there, and there wasn't any hassle at all. Now some of the issues that we noticed in the bus. There wasn't any signage or passenger information system apart from the external banner that's on the actual bus. Inside the bus there weren't any announcements or signs, and most people who were on the bus knew where to exit. They were mostly workers at the airport or regular flyers. I didn't see any new passengers. Maybe there were some passengers who asked around if this was Terminal 3 or so on and so forth. But I kind of know Cairo Airport quite well, that I also did not need to know where to hear an announcement to know that this is Terminal 3. But it would have been nice to have an announcement, either a verbal announcement or some kind of signage on an inside screen inside the bus to say this is the exit for Terminal 3 or Terminal 2, etc. And yeah, that's basically it. And yeah, my wife also concurs with that. She left a comment saying probably would have not taken this if traveling alone. Uber, taxi, car service is relatively affordable and more straightforward. Yes, of course. If we live in Germany, and we had a good currency exchange in our favor, so an Uber ride, or even a limousine ride, or a driver to the airport from the airport would have been affordable to us. But yeah, it's usually quite expensive in comparison to a bus ticket, which is a fraction of the price. However, having that said, I think with this information, you can also decide for yourself if this is something you want to do. If you are traveling for just a few days, you don't have much luggage, only a cabin-sized bag and maybe a backpack or something. You're solo travelers, you don't have young children that would require special arrangements. This would be perfect for you, and it will be a very nice way to get to know the city. You just might have to ask a lot of people, make sure that you're on the right bus, and try to navigate your way through the city. If you're the kind of person who doesn't like to speak to people when you're in the bus, or if you are not in the mood to actually interact with others, then this is not the best mode of transport. Mode of transport, and so therefore, I would recommend rather an Uber or a taxi or a limousine service from the airport. Yeah, then the limousine service is not an actual big limo car as in the US, but it's just a regular premium car. So it's a regular private vehicle, but it's usually a fancy car, either a Mercedes-Benz or a BMW or a Hyundai Accent, one of the later models, and it's slightly more expensive than a taxi, but quite good and quite reliable. So these are the different things that are available at the Cairo airport, and I will try also to leave some notes on this video, to like written notes that can actually save, and you can use that for your next travels. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, and if you like the content I make, you can either subscribe to my Patreon, which the link will be on the screen, or you can also leave us some change at Coffee. If you just want to have a one-time contribution. Also, if you would like to know more about the latest videos I'll be making or other topics I'll be publishing, you can follow my Facebook page or our website. The link will be on the screen as well. And you can also write to me on email, by email, sorry. Write to me by email if you have any questions, or if there are any topics you'd like to suggest with regards to transport. Thank you so much, and see you soon. Bye.